The elevator door slid open with a soft chime, and the scent of burnt coffee hung in the morning air. Nathan Cole stepped out, jacket crisp, expression unreadable. The CEO of Brightstone Industries never wasted a second. The staff had learned to scatter before his stride reached them. That morning, though, something made him pause. Through the glass wall near reception, he noticed a lone woman on the rooftop terrace, sitting with a small lunchbox in her lap. It was barely 9 a.m., too early for lunch, but she was eating quietly, staring at the skyline as if drawing strength from it. He almost moved on, but curiosity caught him. "Evelyn Hart," he murmured, recognizing her name from HR reports. Reliable, consistent, invisible. Hours passed. Meetings, numbers, endless signatures. Yet, the image of that rooftop figure lingered. When noon arrived, Nathan pushed away his catered salad and headed upstairs. The rooftop door creaked. Cold wind swept across the terrace. Evelyn sat there again, shoulders slightly hunched, lunchbox open. "Ms. Hart." Nathan's voice broke the silence. She startled, nearly dropping her fork. "Mr. Cole, sir, I'm so sorry. I didn't know." "It's fine," he said, raising a hand. "I was getting some air." He glanced at the box beside her. 2 slices of bread, a single boiled egg, and nothing else. "You always eat here?" She nodded, unsure how to respond. "It's quieter up here." He gave a small, polite nod and turned to leave, but not before noticing her hands, steady yet rough around the knuckles, the kind that work beyond office hours. When he returned to his floor, he couldn't focus. Reports blurred. For reasons he couldn't explain, he asked his assistant, "How long has Evelyn Hart been with us?" "Almost 3 years, sir. Never taken a sick day." That night, the city glowed below his apartment windows. Nathan sat with his dinner untouched. He remembered Evelyn's quiet posture against the wind, her plain meal, the look in her eyes when she realized someone had seen her. The next day, he arrived early. The cleaning crew was still finishing. He spotted Evelyn organizing files in the conference room before anyone else had arrived. "You're here? Early again," he said casually. She looked up, startled. "Oh, yes, sir. I like starting ahead." He studied her calm, professional tone. "That's admirable." Then, softer, "You don't live far, do you?" "South Side," she said. "It's a bit of a commute." Nathan hesitated, then smiled faintly. "That explains the early mornings." She smiled back, polite, distant, perfect. And just like that, the mask returned. At lunch, he found himself drawn once more to the rooftop door, but stopped halfway. He didn't want to intrude. Still, a thought nagged him. Why would someone like her, educated, efficient, respected, live as though every cent mattered? That evening, as rain streaked the office windows, Evelyn stayed late. Nathan noticed a faint light from her cubicle when most had gone home. Curiosity got the better of him. "Still here?" he asked from the doorway. She jumped slightly. "Just finishing tomorrow's schedule, sir." He nodded, dedicated. "Thank you," she said, packing her laptop into a worn-out tote bag. As she turned, the strap snapped. Her lunchbox clattered to the floor, popping open. Inside were 2 slices of bread wrapped in a napkin and a folded envelope. She knelt quickly, mortified, but Nathan crouched beside her to help. "Let me—" "It's fine," she said too quickly, snatching the envelope. Their eyes met. Hers glistened with something between fear and pride. "Please, it's nothing." He didn't press. "Get a new bag tomorrow. Send a receipt to finance." She froze. "I can't. It's not. It's an order, Ms. Hart." Then, softer, "Everyone deserves something that doesn't fall apart." The words hung between them, and she gave a silent nod. When she left, Nathan noticed she walked toward the bus stop instead of the parking lot. Rain poured. She didn't have an umbrella. Something inside him shifted, not pity, but recognition. He'd seen that same quiet endurance in his mother long ago, when she'd worked 2 jobs after his father's death. Later that week, he noticed small things he'd never paid attention before. How Evelyn never joined the team lunches. how she refused birthday cakes or after-work gatherings, how her smiles were always perfectly timed but never reached her eyes. The curiosity became concern, and concern something deeper. One afternoon, he called HR. "Does Ms. Hart have unused vacation days?" "Yes, sir, all of them. She's never requested time off." Nathan leaned back, troubled. "Has her performance ever slipped?" "Never. She's one of the best." He ended the call without a word. That night, the rooftop light burned late again. He stepped out quietly and found her there. Same lunchbox, same 2 slices of bread, same view of the city. Only this time, she wasn't eating. She was holding a phone, whispering, "Yes, Mom, I'll bring the medicine tomorrow. I promise. Just rest tonight." Nathan stepped back into the shadows, guilt twisting in his chest. He realized then that her quiet wasn't choice. It was survival. The next morning, Nathan waited in the break room as the coffee machine wheezed to life. Evelyn entered. Hair tied back, eyes rimmed with fatigue, she tried to hide. She reached for hot water in a tea bag, then froze, seeing him there. "Morning," he said. "Good morning, Mr. Cole. You can call me Nathan." The word surprised him. "How's the new bag?" She lifted the tote. "Stitched? Sturdy. It's good. Thank you. I meant what I said," he added. "Everyone deserves something reliable." A small smile flickered. "Then I'll try to be as reliable as my bag." "You already are," he said softly. Her smile faltered. She turned to leave but stumbled slightly. Nathan caught her elbow. "I'm fine," she said quickly. "Just stood up too fast." "You should sit." He guided her to a chair. "Did you eat breakfast?" Silence. Then, "I will," he repeated, "after the morning rush." She tried to rise, but he stopped her gently. "Sit. I'll get you something." "It's not charity," he added when she protested. "It's timing." He ordered oatmeal and fruit, set it before her, and stepped back. When he glanced again, she was eating fast, grateful and embarrassed, like someone stealing food in a church. He left without another word. By noon, meetings drowned his thoughts, but one thing settled in: no more looking away. He opened her records, not to pry, but to act. Her pay was low for her work. He reopened a pause coordinator position, flagged her name, and called HR, find tuition or medical aid programs. Quietly. At 2, Linda from operations burst in. "Mr. Cole." Evelyn nearly collapsed in the copy room. "Where is she?" "Conference room B." He found Evelyn sitting pale, but composed. "I'm sorry, sir. Just dizzy." He crouched so their eyes met. "When was your last full meal?" "I'm fine." "Evelyn," he said quietly. "I'm fine." He sighed. "Then walk with me." They stepped onto the terrace. The wind bit. She set her silver lunchbox down. Small, dented, a peeling star sticker clinging to the corner. "I didn't mean to cause trouble," she said. "You didn't," he replied. "You do the opposite." He gestured to box. "May I?" She hesitated, then slid it toward him. Inside, 2 slices of bread, a bottle cap of salt, a folded card beneath. She nodded once. He opened it. Rent due 10th. Mom's meds. Keep receipts. Caleb's exam March. Skip Friday lunch. Water only. Don't faint. Smile. Below, in smaller letters, "You are strong, even when you're tired. Hold on." Nathan's jaw tightened. It wasn't pity, just recognition. His mother once kept a list like that. He folded the note, closed the lid. "Thank you for trusting me." Her eyes glistened. "Please don't make this big. I don't want people thinking I'm—" "Less?" he asked. "Needy," she whispered. "Or a story." "You're not a story," he said. "You're someone I should have seen sooner." The wind tugged her hair. He draped his jacket over her shoulders. She started to protest, then stopped. "I can help," he said gently. "But tell me, what would help without taking your dignity? A raise feels like pity. A favor feels like debt. What about accuracy?" he asked. "You're already doing coordinator work. That's correction, not charity." She blinked. "People will talk." Then let them talk about what you've earned. He added, there's also quiet aid for caregivers. No names. No shame. I can't accept money. It's not money. It's structure. If not for you, for someone else later. She looked at him. Why are you doing this? Because I've been on the wrong side of a locked door, he said softly. Someone saw me once. I pretended I didn't need it. I was wrong. They sat in silence. The cities hung below them. After a while, she opened the box again, broke the bread, and handed him half. It's not much. It's honest, he said. They ate quietly. The bread tasted like a promise. Downstairs, Nathan called finance. A meal credit for all employees. Framed as a productivity perk, no spotlight. He signed Evelyn's promotion posting with a detailed record of her wins and asked HR to add caregiver leave to policy without his name. By evening, Linda told Evelyn, they reopened the coordinator role. You should apply. Maybe, Evelyn said. And Mr. Cole brought you coffee yesterday, Linda teased. You okay? I'm fine, she said, but this time the words sounded lighter. Later, she went to the terrace, added another card to her lunchbox. Accept help without shame. Give help without noise. She didn't see Nathan watching from the doorway. He stood quietly, a man deciding to change more than one life. The next morning, the cafeteria app carried a new banner. Bright Bites, free healthy lunches for all staff. No memo, no announcement, just there. The line formed quickly. No one knew whose idea it was. That was the point. Evelyn watched from afar, lunchbox in hand, then went to the rooftop. Nathan joined her. You saw the app. I did. This isn't about you, he said. I know, she smiled softly. That's why it matters. He nodded. Good. Did you apply? I will. I'm scared. So am I, he said, of doing this wrong, of not doing enough. She studied him. Then we'll learn carefully. He smiled faintly. Carefully works. The wind lifted the card's edge. His fingers steadied it, brushing the line. You are strong, even when you're tired. Hold on. He didn't say it aloud. He didn't need to. If this moment reminds you of someone you've overlooked, pause, notice, act quietly. Sometimes that's all it takes. Inside, Brightstone hummed as always, but softer. Laughter lingered longer. Doors stayed open. People looked up. Evelyn checked her email. A message waited. Subject, internal posting, administrative coordinator. Evelyn, we encourage qualified internal candidates to apply. Her hands trembled as she clicked apply. When she hit submit, they steadied. Nathan, in his office, wrote a note for himself. Pay attention. Then act. Quietly. He hid it under his keyboard. That evening, Evelyn stood once more on the terrace, added a third card. Remember this day. She closed the lunchbox and held it close. Downstairs, Nathan stepped into an elevator with his team. I hear the soup's good today, he said. A few smiled. Take care of yourselves, he added as the doors opened, less a command, more an invitation. And on the rooftop, where loneliness had long kept watch, a woman with a dented silver lunchbox finally let tomorrow meet her halfway. The following week came with an unusual calm. Brightstone's halls felt softer somehow, less like a fortress, more like a heartbeat. Nathan noticed in the small things. People lingering at the coffee machine to talk, laughter echoing down the corridor, the way even silence felt lighter. He didn't mention it, but he knew exactly where it started. A dented lunchbox and a list written in careful handwriting. Evelyn had applied for the coordinator role. HR confirmed it discreetly, and her interview was scheduled for Friday. She didn't know Nathan had instructed the panel to treat her like any other candidate. He wanted her to win it fairly, and he knew she would. But the days leading up to that interview weren't easy for her. Pressure mounted quietly. Her mother's medication costs had risen. Her brother's exams were near, and the landlord had left a second reminder under their door. Evelyn carried it all with her, hidden behind the same calm smile she wore to work. That Tuesday, she arrived earlier than usual. The morning light was pale through the glass walls, dust swirling like glitter in the air. She set her lunchbox on her desk, took a deep breath, and began sorting files. It was a routine: order, discipline, control. By 10 o'clock, the elevator doors opened and Nathan stepped out, sleeves rolled up, coffee in hand. His eyes caught hers briefly, a small nod, no words, but that nod said everything. "You're doing fine." At noon, Evelyn didn't go to the rooftop. She stayed in the cafeteria for the first time in months, holding a tray of food from a new Bright Bites counter. It wasn't much: rice, vegetables, and soup, but it was warm and free. She sat at a corner table. A few colleagues smiled at her. She smiled back, uncertain but trying. Nathan passed by, saw her, and felt a quiet satisfaction. He didn't approach. He didn't need to. For the first time, she looked like she belonged there. Later that afternoon, an unexpected email popped up on her screen. Subject: Presentation Prep Confidential. It was from Nathan. She hesitated, then clicked. The message read, "Evelyn, I'd like you to help me prepare slides for Friday's board meeting. Your department's insight on scheduling data has been better than expected, and I trust your structure. Let's meet at 5 p.m. in my office." Nathan. She stared at it, heart pounding. The board meeting? That was beyond her usual scope. When 5 o'clock came, she knocked on his glass door. "Come in," he said. His desk was lined with papers, graphs, and a laptop open to a half-built presentation. "You wanted to see me, sir?" "Yes." He gestured to the chair opposite. "I need your help organizing this data. You have a sharper eye for clarity than most people here." She sat careful, composed. "I'll do my best." As they worked, the tension she'd feared never came. He was patient, focused, respectful. They discussed workflow charts, deadlines, visual clarity. Every time she pointed out an inconsistency, he listened, actually listened and corrected it. After an hour, he leaned back, impressed. "You know," he said, "you could teach half this department about efficiency." Evelyn laughed softly. "Maybe I should add that to my resume." "You should," he replied, smiling. The air changed, not romantic, not awkward, just warm. Two people who'd learned to carry too much alone, suddenly realizing they didn't have to. When she gathered her things to leave, he said, "Evelyn?" She looked up. "Whatever happens Friday, know that you already proved yourself." Her throat tightened. "Thank you, sir." After she left, Nathan sat in silence for a long moment, staring at the empty chair across from him. He realized something he hadn't in years. Seeing people wasn't weakness. It was leadership. That night, Evelyn got home late. The apartment was dim, except for the small lamp near her mother's bed. Maria stirred as the door opened. "You're home late again," her mother murmured. "Work ran long," Evelyn said, setting the lunchbox down gently on the counter. Her brother peeked from his room. "Did you eat?" Evelyn smiled tiredly. "I did. At work." She opened the lunchbox, took out 2 slices of bread, and added a fresh note. "Tomorrow you'll eat better." She placed it beside the stove, a small promise to herself. The next day, Nathan arrived early again. He carried 2 coffees, a habit now, and left one on Evelyn's desk before she came in. No name, no note, but she knew. When she saw it, she froze for a second, then smiled quietly. She didn't drink it immediately. Instead, she let it sit beside her laptop like a symbol of recognition, of quiet solidarity. Friday came quickly. The air was charged with nerves. Evelyn wore her cleanest white blouse and the same gray skirt she'd owned for years. She couldn't afford new clothes, but she carried herself like she designed the building. The interview went smoothly. The panel asked structured questions. She answered calmly, clearly, confident but humble. When they asked why she'd never applied for advancement before, she paused and said, "Because I thought showing up and giving my best was enough. I forgot that sometimes you have to raise your hand to be seen." Nathan heard about it later. One of the panelists told him, "She was remarkable." He only said, "I know." By evening, the results were approved. HR sent the email. Evelyn Hart, promoted to administrative coordinator, effective immediately. He watched from his office window as she read the email. Her hand flew to her mouth, eyes wide. She turned her chair slightly, as if hiding the wave of emotion that followed. But the reflection in the glass betrayed her. Tears, then a smile so radiant it startled him. He didn't go out to congratulate her. He wanted that moment to be hers alone. That night, Evelyn walked home lighter than she'd ever felt. The city light shimmered around her like an orchestra tuning up for a new beginning. When she reached her apartment, she opened the lunchbox again, added a new card, and wrote, "You did it." Down the street, Nathan parked his car quietly, watching from a respectful distance. Not out of intrusion, out of gratitude. Gratitude for the reminder that people weren't numbers, and that kindness didn't require applause. The next morning, he found a small paper folded under his office door. It was from Evelyn. "Thank you for seeing me. Not just as an employee, as a person. I'll keep the lunchbox as a reminder of what survival looked like before hope." He smiled, folded the note, and tucked it inside his drawer. Then he whispered, "You gave me hope too." If this story touched something in you, take a second to like, comment, and subscribe. Your engagement keeps stories like this alive and helps more people find reminders that empathy still matters. A week after Evelyn's promotion, the rhythm of Brightstone Industries felt renewed. People noticed a change but couldn't quite name it. Meetings flowed smoother, greetings lasted longer, and the CEO, once a shadow of power, now walked the hallways with softer eyes. Evelyn adjusted to her new position quickly. Her workspace had shifted closer to the executive floor, just 2 offices away from Nathan's. The first morning she arrived, she placed her old lunchbox neatly in the drawer beside her planner. It wasn't for use anymore. It was her keepsake, her reminder. Nathan stopped by that afternoon. Settling in, she looked up, smiling, trying to remember which drawer hides the extra pens. "Top left," he said without hesitation. "They never move them, no matter how many years pass." She laughed. "I'll keep that in mind." He nodded toward her desk. "You brought the lunchbox." "Yes," she said softly. "I wanted to keep it close. It reminds me where I started, and that I'm not alone anymore." Nathan leaned on the doorway, watching her for a moment before replying. Then, "Keep it visible. A symbol of strength shouldn't stay hidden." She hesitated, then placed it on the corner of her desk. The silver metal caught the afternoon light. "Better?" "Perfect," he said. Days passed, and they developed an easy rhythm. Occasional shared lunches in the cafeteria, quiet talks about work and life between meetings. Nathan learned that Evelyn had once dreamed of becoming a teacher, that she'd given it up when her mother fell ill. She learned that he'd grown up in a small apartment with his father fixing clocks for a living, the sound of ticking filling every silence in his childhood. One afternoon, as rain whispered against the glass, Nathan said, "You know, my father used to say that people are like clocks. Everyone looks perfect on the outside until you see the gears grinding inside. That's where the real story is." Evelyn smiled faintly. "Your father was right. He was," Nathan said quietly. "I just forgot it for a while. And now," he met her gaze, "now I'm listening again." Their silence wasn't uncomfortable anymore. It was full, like 2 people finally fluent in understanding. That Friday, Brightstone held its quarterly meeting. Nathan stood before the company, announcing new employee programs, flexible hours, wellness support, and the Bright Bites initiative's permanent expansion. Applause rippled through the hall. Evelyn stood near the back, her heart swelling with pride. No one knew it had started with her lunchbox, and she didn't need them to. Watching Nathan speak, confident but humble, was enough. After the meeting, he found her by the elevator. "You did great work organizing today's schedule," he said. She chuckled. "All I did was send reminders." "Sometimes," he said, "reminders are what keep everything standing." She tilted her head, smiling. "You've gotten very poetic lately, Mr. Cole." "Call me Nathan," he said. "Then you've gotten very poetic, Nathan." He smiled, eyes soft. Maybe I'd just been learning from better company. As weeks turned into months, their bond deepened, still professional, but threaded with something more meaningful than formality. They started sharing lunch once a week, a quiet tradition on Fridays. Evelyn would bring simple meals, and Nathan would add something new, soup, fruit, or pastries from a cafe downstairs. They never made it about charity. It was about togetherness. One Friday, Evelyn opened her lunchbox and found, tucked beside the bread, a small folded card. She frowned, then unfolded it. The handwriting wasn't hers. For the one who taught me that compassion is the best investment. And she looked up to find Nathan pretending to focus on his laptop. "You left something in my lunchbox," she said softly. "Did I?" he replied without looking up, a playful glint in his eyes. "Yes, and now it's going to stay there forever." He looked at her then, smiling. "Good. It belongs there." The following week, she surprised him. When he returned from a meeting, a paper bag sat on his desk. Inside was a small sandwich, plain bread, egg, and salt, exactly like hers had once been, wrapped neatly in a napkin. Beneath it was a note. "So you never forget where kindness begins." He didn't eat the sandwich. He kept it sealed in a small glass container in his office cabinet. Not as food, but as a relic of change. Over the months, Evelyn's life shifted quietly but profoundly. Her mother's health stabilized. Her brother, Caleb, graduated high school with honors, his tuition covered by the anonymous assistance fund Nathan had established for employees' families. Evelyn never asked who started it, but deep down, she knew. One evening, after everyone had gone, she walked onto the rooftop, the same place she'd once eaten her lonely lunches. The skyline glittered, wind brushing through her hair. She opened her old lunchbox, now shiny from care, and slipped inside one last card. It read, "Thank you for seeing me, and for teaching me to see others." She closed it, smiling through tears. Behind her, footsteps echoed. Nathan stepped onto the terrace, his coat brushing against the wind. "I thought I might find you here," he said. "I wanted to visit my old dining room," she teased. He chuckled. "Good view, terrible service." She laughed softly, then turned serious. "Do you ever think about how small things change everything?" "All the time," he said. "One small thing changed me." She looked at him. What was it? He met her eyes. A woman with a silver lunchbox. They stood there, the city humming below, two people stitched together by coincidence and choice. Nathan took a step closer. "I won't pretend I understand everything you faced," he said, "but I hope you know you're not invisible anymore. Not here, not anywhere." "I know," she said. "You made sure of that." He hesitated, then offered his hand. "Come on, let's go downstairs. They're closing the cafeteria soon." She smiled, slipping her hand into his. "I think I'll join you this time." As they walked back inside, the door swung shut behind them, leaving the terrace quiet again, but not lonely. The air carried echoes of laughter, of resilience, of a promise kept. Later, as Evelyn locked her office, she glanced at the lunchbox resting on her desk. She touched it gently, whispering, "You can rest now." In his office, Nathan packed his briefcase. Before turning off the lights, he looked at the sticky note beneath his keyboard. "Pay attention, then act. Quietly." He smiled, peeled it off, and placed it inside the same drawer that held Evelyn's note. When he left, the city lights stretched before him like endless possibilities. Somewhere in that glow, stories like theirs were waiting. Quiet, unseen, needing only one pair of eyes to notice. If this story reminded you that compassion still matters, take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe. Because sometimes one small gesture, one open lunchbox, can change everything.